Good morning. Welcome to Mornings with Michael. This is for informational, educational, and sometimes entertainment purposes only. Happy Thursday to everyone. Let's get to some of the news. There's a lot of news on the plate today. Stocks fell Wednesday as U.S. lawmakers struggled to reach a deal on country's debt ceiling, heightening worries of a potential default. White House and congressional Republicans on Thursdays are expected to resume negotiations on a deal to raise government's $31.4 trillion debt ceiling, with as little as a week remaining until a potential economically catastrophic default. Democratic President Joe Biden and House of Representatives Speaker Kevin McCarthy are at odds over spending, taxes, work requirements for anti-poverty programs. Both sides say they believe they can find common ground. Let's get back to stocks. NVDA shares surged to an all-time high, pushing European and U.S. semiconductor stocks higher across the board as its massive upside guidance for Q2 revenues helped boost the AI growth-driven trade. Snow shares slide in the software space after results and news that Amazon may slow spending, while NTNX, Splunk, SPLNK rise on their results. In Asian markets, the Nikkei index rose 118 points to 30,801. Shanghai index dipped 3 points to 3201, and the Hang Seng index declined 369 points to 18,746 in Europe. The German DAX is nearly flat on the day, 15,839, while the FTSE 100 is down a few points to 7618. What do we got on the economic calendar for today? Weekly jobless claims. We'll take a look at that. Estimated was 245,000. Continuing claims estimated 1.8 million. I believe the jobless claims went down, and so the Dow Jones Industrial Average went down with it. GDP consumer spending, GDP price deflator for Q1, PC personal consumption expenditure prices preliminary Q1. Pending home sales, weekly natural gas inventory data, Kansas City Fed manufacturing for May, and the U.S. to sell $35 billion in 7-year notes. On to the earnings calendar. Earnings before the open and earnings after the close were what was happening. Other key events: 23rd Annual Institutional Investor Conference, 524 to 525 in California. Goldman Sachs TechNet Conference Asia Pacific 2023 is a virtual conference. Mizuho Second Annual Industrials Basic Materials Bus Tour 524 to 525. World News, Fitch Ratings warned the nation's AAA rating was under threat from political standoff that's preventing a deal. Fitch may downgrade its assessment to reflect increased partisanship that is hindering a resolution despite the fast approaching so-called X date, it said in a statement. German gross domestic product GDP fell by 0.3% in the first quarter of the year when adjusted price for the calendar effects. A second estimate from the Statistics Office showed Thursday. This follows a decline of 0.5% in the fourth quarter of 2022. The bull-bear spread in the American Association of Individual Investors, AAII weekly survey was negative 12.3% versus negative 16.8% last week. Bulls rise to 27.4 from 22.9, and neutrals fall to 32.9 from 37.4. Bears remain unchanged at 39.7%. On to our consumer news. American Eagle Outfitters, AEO, quarter one adjusted EPS, 17 cents, in line with revenues, rose 3% year over year to $1.1 billion versus a consensus of $1.07 billion. Elf Beauty crushed it, up 224%. Their stock is gapping up. We'll take a look at that in a few moments. Quarter four EPS 42 cents versus estimate 20 cents, double, more than double. Quarter four revenues 187.4 million versus estimate of 156.1 million, said the Oakland, California company. They sell in Target and other places, so Elf Beauty is looking beautiful. Guess Incorporated, GES, quarter first adjusted EPS loss 7 cents versus estimate of 28 cents. Red Robin Gourmet, RRGB, quarter one EPS 25 cents versus estimated loss of 57 cents. Carnival, CCL, was upgraded from neutral to buy at Citicorp and a price target raised from $10 to $14. Energy, Industrial, and Materials. Enersys, ENS, quarter four adjusted EPS $1.82 versus $1.38. Revenues rose 9% year over year. Modine Manufacturing, MOD, quarter four adjusted EPS 67 cents versus 45 cents. Revenue growth 4 to 10% over the full year 24. Air Products, APD, said it had struck a $1 billion deal with the government of Uzbekistan and state-owned company to buy, own, and operate natural gas to synthetic gas processing facility in Qashqadaryo province. Easy for me to say. Financials. Royal Bank of Canada, RY, missed analysts' estimates after setting aside more money than expected to cover bad loans. Canada's largest bank took provisions for credit losses of Canadian 600 million, 441 million US, lower than analysts' forecast of 574.5 million. TD Bank, TD, quarter two adjusted EPS, Canadian $1.94 versus estimate of Canadian $2.08. Said provision for credit losses was 599 million Canadian, common equity tier ratio 15.3, adjusted efficiency ratio 53.4. On to healthcare. Annexon, ANN, easy for me to say, ANNX announces Archer trial endpoint did not reach statistical significance. Said top line results from the 12-month treatment period of Archer showed that patients treated monthly and every other month with ANX007 were protected against vision loss as measured by changes from baseline in widely accepted functional endpoint best of corrected visual acuity. Medtronic, MDT, quarter four EPS $1.57 versus estimate of, this cannot be right, adjusted EPS $1.57 versus estimate of, that must be a dollar sign missing there because they have $41.56. So we'll have to double check that. On to technology, media, and telecom. NVIDIA shares rise 14%. Now even up even more. Quarter one EPS $1.09. Tops estimate of 92 cents. Data center revenue rose 14% year over year, 4.28 versus 3.91. Guides quarter two revenue 11 billion plus or minus 2% versus estimate of 7.15 billion. The big news here is everybody's wild about AI chips. Snowflake quarter one EPS 15 cents versus estimate of 5 cents. Slowing economy from Amazon has Snowflake down today. Splunk Quarter one EPS loss $1.19 versus estimated loss of 13 cents. Quarter one revenues rose 11% year over year. UiPath, PATH, quarter one EPS 11 cents versus 2 cents. Digital Turbine, APPS, quarter four EPS 14 cents versus estimate of 18 cents. Live Ramp Holdings, RAMP, quarter four adjusted EPS 32 cents versus 18. Nutanix and TNX, quarter three adjusted EPS 4 cents versus 3. Zuoro, ZUO, quarter one EPS 5 cents versus estimate of 0 cents. Stratasys, SSYS, and Desktop Metal to combine in an all-stock deal valued at about $1.8 billion that will create a new player in 3D printing space, confirms Bloomberg report late yesterday. So that's our news. On to share our screen. Here we got NVIDIA. Wasn't too long ago, it was at 266, and now it's at 382, up 22% on increased volume of 59%. Earnings came in negative 20% compared to last year's quarter, but it was an earnings beat of 68.55%. That's just amazing on a stock like this. And we can see volume is not as high as yesterday, but it is. Oh, I got the weekly. I do apologize. Volume is running very high today. It did sell off a bit yesterday, gave you the opportunity as it bounced off of its 10-day moving average, and now the sky's the limit. Let's take a look at SMH. SMH is jumping as well. Look at that huge gap. It's just amazing. SMH is up 7%. That's just incredible for an ETF. Let's take a look at our energy stocks. Energies are gapping down, trying to hold the declining 10-day average. Oil is down, but not as much. It's bouncing off of its declining 10-day and butting its head up against the 20-day. Natural gas is off. Our dollar continues to be strong. There's a gap now from yesterday. It's trying to get above its 200-day moving average. So gold should be retreating again. Gold is gapping down as the dollar is gapping up. Silver, not quite as bad. We'll just continue to watch this, but silver, my opinion, is only going to go up with all the EV battery. But don't take my word for it. Do your own research. And let's take a look at cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin is up marginally, up 0.26%. And Ethereum is down marginally, down 0.62%. Take a look at bond yields. And the 10-year yield continues to strengthen off of basically not coming up with an answer for the debt ceiling. Move our screen up here a little bit. To look at our 20-year. 20-year is pretty flat compared to the last three days. The 1 to 3 year bond is pulling back, so the yields are rising on that as well. Mining and metals continues to sink. Explorers gapping down just like XLE. Pull over my handy chart here. Utilities continue to sink. Building materials as well. Healthcare sector sinking. If I could hit the right keys. Financials, not doing too much. Not too good when you're below all your averages. Take a look at technology is gapping up with the NVDA and semiconductor news. Software is up strong. ServiceNow I saw earlier was up pretty good. Looks like airlines are up slightly. We'll see if they can remain above their moving averages. Transportation is trying to catch a bid here. Biotech is pulling back below its 10 and 20-day moving average. And the bigger biotech is just sinking like a drum. And let's take a look at cyber. Cyber with Palo Alto Network had a pretty good quarter. Take a look at Palo Alto Networks. Earnings were up 83%. See what else is in their sector. Fortinet. Kind of sinking down. Okta looks like it's trying to build out of a cup. So we'll continue to watch that. Take a look at some other of the semiconductors. Advanced micro devices is gapping up here, kind of in favor with NVIDIA. Thing to watch out for that's kind of low volume, so we'll have to continue to watch that. ACLS is gapping up as well. On semi, not doing too much here. So look at Taiwan Semiconductor. Gapping up as well, huge volume. NVIDIA farms out a lot of its manufacturing. It designs its chips and sends it to Taiwan Semiconductor, so it's no surprise that they're gapping up. Let's take a look at what's moving. Double Verify, gapping up. Software platform to provide transparency, gapping up, but it's on the bottom of its gap up. That's not the best look. ServiceNow is gapping up as well. I'm going to just take a look at my handy little chart here. Super Micro continues as well. It's gapping up to 200. Huge volume, 18% here. Increase in volume 756%. Renaissance Holdings, which was in the news yesterday, pulled back a little bit, is trying to grab a bid here. ANET, which I think is big in AI and data center, is gapping up. Huge gap up here, up 9%. Synopsis as well, up about 9%. Pretty good volume here. Another big semiconductor over in Europe. Huge gap up here as well, up close to 5%. Modine Manufacturing, which was in the news, came out their earnings up 18%. This was a 41% surprise. It's got kind of average volume. I believe we did look at Palo Alto Networks. MongoDB, another software company, up 1.79%. Cadence Design System, up huge as well, about 7%. Volume is pretty light. ServiceNow. Take a look at another. HubSpot is big on AI. It's not doing too much, but it has run up quite a bit since this earnings came out. See if we've got any other. Dynatrace, up 1.34. Nice little shelf pattern here. Only one strong day in selling. Yeah, we got a lot of software moving today. Looks like we got a nice shelf here. We'll have to wait and see what Workday's earnings come out. Qualtrics International, not too much. Oh, I know why. I'm looking at the wrong screen here. Allegro Microsystems. Didn't really get too much here on the news. Interactive Brokers, up about 2%. Monolithic Power Systems, gapping up as well. It's pulling back. It's below the 50% range that you'd like to see, but it's up 11.44%. Pure Storage, gapping up 4.6%. Home Builder, Dreamfinder Homes is up. Rambus, another semiconductor company, it's gapping up, but they're on the, once again, they're fell back to the bottom of their range, up 8%. Toll Brothers is gapping up. Their earnings came in at 54% and nearly 50% surprise. So that's what we're looking at right now. Also, Broadcom gapping up just under 3%. Yeah, we got a lot of these. So let's see if we can down in volume. Let me use my screen here. So down in volume, down Hannon Armstrong, or REIT, down 2%. Icon Enterprises. Care to catch a falling knife? It's down another 20%. How many 20% can this stock take is a big question. Like Dollar Tree, Mr. Earnings are down 13%. Look at this huge volume. People running for the gates. Aero Environment, unmanned spacecraft drones, gapping down and is on the lower 25% of its range, down 14, almost 15%. Look at snow, down about 17%, even though their earnings were up about 1,000% on news of slowing buying. Mirati Therapeutics, down 13.2%. I guess their therapies are not keeping people excited. BioXcel Therapeutics, selling off big, huge volume, down over 18%. Analog Devices was down big earlier, is trying to stay at the top of its range. Its earnings came in at 13%. That was only an earnings surprise of 2.76%. Abercrombie and Fitch looks like some profit taking on their huge earnings yesterday, up 244%. With that big gap up, it's not a surprise that it's down 4% today. Build-A-Bear Workshop earnings came in at 10%, not what investors were looking for, down about 4%. So that's our report for today. Tomorrow, we're going to take a look at some of the leading issues, strength against the S&P 500. Oh, and we did not look at our indexes, so let's go look at the VIX. The VIX had tried to stay up where it was earlier today, but it has sold off quite a bit. S&P 500 trying to it's actually filling the gap that the gap down yesterday. Now it's filling the gap. 80% of the time gaps fill and then they return to the trend. So that's something to keep an eye out on. And the NASDAQ is gapping up with that NVIDIA and all the semiconductor play here. Take a look at the equal weight. Here we go. Equal weight. When you take out those big movers, You can see that it hasn't really moved much. It's just up marginally. Take a look at the equal weight in the S&P. It's actually retracing. So pretty interesting when you look under the cover. Dow Jones, yeah, it's pulling back under its 200-day moving average. And then our Russell small cap index is continuing to fall down off another 1% with all of its banking issues here. So we'll just have to see what's happening. It seems like the Fed wants to have a pause in June, and it's talking about a 50-50 chance of a rate hike after that. So they're still disappointed with the amount of inflation in our economy. So we'll have to keep an eye out on that. But that's our report for today. Thanks for joining Mornings with Michael for informational, educational, and sometimes entertainment purposes. So we'll catch you tomorrow. Wrap it up on Friday. Everybody go out there and have a great week. Keep after your activities. Keep up your goals. And we'll get this economy and inflation and get everything moving again. I can guarantee you that. You have a great day.